and as a grown woman, she had not endured short-lived flings with men whose names weren't worth remembering, as I had. Eula had committed to praying and waiting for her Boaz, like Ruth in the Bible. Eula is a true believer. She doesn't walk around with questions lingering in her throat like I do. But that night, she slid my fingers inside those white cotton panties and forgot all about Boaz. We stayed up until we were slick with sweat. Later that morning, Eula tamped down regret with silence and coffee. A month or so later, it was New Year's Eve, and Eula called to say that she'd booked a suite over in Clarksville. I brought white pizza and 3 bottles of Asti Spumante. For Eula's birthday the next year, I planned a special dinner at my house for us. I went down to the fish market on Avery and got everything to make gumbo, her favorite dish. Eula liked my Grandma Pauline's gumbo, but without the okra, so that's how I made it. I cooked the night before Eula's birthday because Grandma always said the gumbo tasted better after it had a chance to sit in the Frigidaire for a day. As I stirred the roux, which is my least favorite part of making gumbo because it requires patience, Eula called to ask if she could get a rain check on dinner. Reese, an attorney from our singles Bible study, whom she'd been seeing for barely 6 months, wanted to take her out for her birthday. It was a surprise. Her words tumbled all over each other. "Oh, Caroletta, I think he might ask me to marry him." And I just kept stirring that roux. "You understand, right?" Eula had asked. "Sure." I tried to think of something else to say that Eula would want to hear that wouldn't taste wounded and bitter in my mouth, but I couldn't come up with anything. It didn't matter anyway because Eula just prattled on, wondering how Reese could have managed to guess her ring size and what she would say to feign surprise when he popped the question. In the end, both Eula and Reese got a surprise that night. Their romantic dinner at a rooftop restaurant, the original surprise, was interrupted by Reese's estranged wife. Later, when Eula called to tell me what had happened, her fury just about leaped through the phone. I sat up in bed, listening, eating my second bowl of gumbo, with okra, another woman's husband snoring lightly beside me. Over time, Eula had other Reeses, other almosts, but she would end up dismissing them as too old or too young, too broke or too stupid, or they would dismiss her once they realized they couldn't woo or pressure her into sleeping with them. Nowadays, there are fewer and fewer Reeses, and they are less and less like Boaz with each passing year. Sometimes I wonder if Eula finds fault with all these men because, secretly, she doesn't want any of them, and is just doing what's expected of her. But these are the kinds of things Eula and I don't talk about. After the shower, Eula puts on a white t-shirt and white cotton panties. She falls back on the king-size bed, floating on the crisp white sheets, plump pillows, and billowy comforter. Her hair is wrapped in a pink silk scarf. She takes a long drink, straight from the second bottle of Andre. "Want some?" She holds the bottle out to me. I crawl to her, from the foot of the bed. When I am next to her, she lifts the bottle to my mouth and then pours it down the front of my nightgown and giggles. "Let me get that," she says. She sets the bottle on the nightstand and pushes me back on the pillows. She straddles me, takes off my nightgown, and licks everywhere the champagne is touched. About an hour later, I wake up, still drunk. Eula is up, drinking from the last bottle of Andre. She has muted the TV, but I can tell Dick Clark is introducing some little white girl with multicolored hair who had a hit early last year. Can't remember that child's name, and I guess it really doesn't matter. She can't dance to save her life and can't sing a lick. "I have a New Year's resolution," Eula says, her eyes half closed. "If I'm still alone come Valentine's Day, it will be the last one I spend without a man who belongs to me and me only." "That's a pretty big resolution," I say, reaching for the bottle. The sting of her saying she's alone doesn't roll off of me as quickly as it usually does. "What do you plan to do?"